All right. Welcome on back to some more Joker Tower. I just wanted to do a quick little episode before work today. It's got like about 20 minutes and then I've got a virtual meeting. Oh, that's right. I got to remember to change the texture pack. Normally I love this texture pack, but recently, that's right. I've been exploring. All right, let's explore for 20 minutes and let's talk about all things Joker Tower, just real quick. But, anyways, this texture pack is really cool. I love it, except for the Joker Tower itself. And so I've been debating, and I think I decided that I'm going to take it off um, just because the tower itself looks kind of trashy. I don't like the way the emeralds look on the city pack. But as you can see, like everything else has changed. The grass looks different. Like it's almost like a different Minecraft game with all this whole texture pack and everything else different. The tools are different, sleeker, just everything looks different. So, I don't know. The Greek mythology pack is pretty cool too, but that one I have problems with because I feel like it's like a whole it overtakes and it makes like a whole world. Oh, that is so cool. It's so deadly. So deadly. Let's run around it. But anyways, been having some great breakthroughs and things so whether you love it or hate it, like the current politics are exciting. I mean, scary for some, but ultimately, as far as what I've seen, I don't know. I'm just a really big fan of RFK Jr. My mom was actually a fan of him before he switched sides, and because he made a lot of sense if you actually like sit and listen to him. Now, unfortunately, do have so much stuff to sift through, like the haters, so many haters, just because he even thinks about Trump not being like the Antichrist. And I've joked around and I've sent memes a lot on XApp. A little worried about it because there's a good chance that President Trump might see some of the nonsense I've said. But I mean, he is really like a terrible Christian at times, but we all are, and we're all terrible Muslims at times too. So I mean, if we were living by like strict whatever, those people are actually in the reason for a lot of problems. The ones that can't handle deviating from the books, like the holy books. I mean, they're just very strict and like, nope, if it's not in the holy book, it's not in blah blah blah. And that's that inertia. So when you grow up going to temple or church or a mosque all your life, and every Sunday or every so often you get just this message bombarded in your mind like you need to do this or you're going to hell or you're a bad person or you're evil or whatever, and like all this shame and stuff, when really it's all been over exaggerated and stuff. Like these are the things that you need to look out for and not do if you want to live in peace with your neighbor and your fellow people. Like that's it. And some people take that to heart. Like absolutely cannot do this when they're probably saying, try not to do this. You might, but just be aware, since I'm a person, I'm going to write and tell you what worked for me, what didn't work for me. And the reason I think this so strongly is because look at what I'm doing. Like I have technology, and like the first thing or the main thing that my brain goes to is, hey, take what you learned and help other people with it. Help them stand on your shoulders. And I'll say it again. I'll said it a million times on these playlists. Like my favorite statue was a statue on campus at Colorado State University that said, I was able to see what I saw because I stood on the shoulders of giants. And that's what humanity does. And we're kind of mad at China for doing it too, because China wants to stand on our shoulders, but they want to continue living the way they live. And they are making adjustments. They are trying really hard. But they're also clinging to the whole communism set of government. And I don't know if it's all that bad. Like we like to say communism is terrible and this and that, but like capitalism is where you're ripping a lot of people off, and there's a lot of bad in that too. And so yes, we have great wonderful things, but we have people like destroying their lives to get there, like either working 80-hour weeks or ruining their family life. We have that one, what was it, Click, I think was the Adam Sandler movie that talked about the dangers of dedicating your life to work. Like yeah, you can make a bunch of money, but you can't make up that lost time with your family. Like, there are prices to be paid for this sort of thing. And I'm so fortunate that yes, I make good money. It's not great money, but it's good enough to live off of. And I have two kids that love me, healthy kids, and I have enough to provide for them. In fact, I got to finish we're like a week away from Christmas, and I got to finish Christmas shopping. But either way, and it's like, and this job allows me to spend a lot more time with my kids, whereas I was in a software developer job and I had to stay until 6 minimum. I mean, granted, it was nice because I'm not a morning person and I had to drive to the other side of town. Sometimes it'd take me half hour, 45 minutes just to get to work. Um, and then, and maybe that was because of the route I went. I did kind of a windy route, thinking that I was saving time, but if I had more time at that company, maybe I would have discovered a better way to commute. Like these things that when you're job searching and you're just graduating college and all this, and you're like, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing. This place is hiring way over here, and then this place is hiring way over here. Like in COVID, for all the bad things that happened with it, it was like the great reset, letting us know that, oh, we don't have to, if it's a desk job, it should be done from home. Like you should still be able to have like your in-person interactions with real people and stuff and get that social aspect. But again, online stuff like Twitch, I get all the socializing I could ever want from Twitch. I have a lot of friends, well, I don't know if I call them friends, but I have a lot of people that I follow and we interact and engage, and and we remember each other, and it is a good time. You get all that socializing that you want and need, and then when you're done, when you're like distracted and you want to go do something else, you just get up and go do something else. Like it's awesome. And like a lot of times I'll lurk in the Twitch streams and just be like one more number of their viewers, especially with smaller ones too. Like, because I remember when I was struggling to become affiliate, it turns out it really isn't that hard if you do the types of videos people want to watch. So when I was doing coding game streams, where I was doing Clash of Code, they're tough. I mean, it's thinking. You're basically challenging yourself to solve these puzzles with computer code. Um, and of course, I was using easy mode. I was using Python, which Python is probably one of the easiest programming languages because it does so much hand holding. Whereas like something like Java, you have to declare like, okay, what area of the code is this code coming from? Like, which dictionary, which library, or which this and that, and like, or module, or whatever you want to think of it as. But like, what bit of code is this command coming from? And like, how do I proceed? And even just semicolons and curly brackets, like, yeah, all the extra typing and stuff that you have to remember. Whereas Python, you just got to make it look nice and neat. And it was brilliant how they did that, because indentation and spacing well, it's important in every coding language if you want to be nice to your fellow coders. Anyone else who has to work on your code, yeah, be nice. Like set it up good for them, make it look presentable, and then make it easily readable. So, I don't know. And already I've got like a million things on my mind for work. Got a lot of things going on. Getting ready for a new semester. Got to replace a couple computers. One just went out this morning. Like, and I love it. Doing IT. I still get to do some development stuff. Way more development stuff than I ever did in my software development role. And I get it. That place, it was a growing place. Like they were growing way quicker than they really had the human capital for. And so training was sorely lacking. Like they were basically like just listen in on calls with people, like listen to the analysts fix problems. I was like, okay, but when do I start like writing software? I'm supposed to be a software developer. It's like, actually, no, you're a troubleshooter with a little more in-depth knowledge of the software, and that's it. Had I known that from the start, maybe things would have been better. Maybe I could have been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do IT. And like, but instead, I kept feeling cheated because I was like, all right, when am I going to develop software? That's my title, right? Like I get to work on this stuff and have those wins, those victories of coding the next big tool, etc. So, anyways, now back to the things happening now. So we got Snoop Dogg with his new album Missionary, produced by Dre. They did a short video where Snoop and Dre are basically hunting druggers and rapers. That's phew, amazing. But the best way to do that is preventative. Stop it from happening in the first place. And like, and it is just a fact. Like there are people that like will take advantage of certain things and misunderstand what's trying to be done. Like drug dealing, that was a big misunderstanding. Like, yeah, there's people out there peddling like hard drugs, dangerous drugs, and actually trying to make money. But the majority of people out there were always just trying to smoke bud themselves. Like, You know, it was so expensive, like 350 a zip, and you had to sell every single eighth just to be able to enjoy one eighth to yourself. And at the end of the day, it was almost easier just to buy the one eighth from someone else, like rather than try to sell an entire ounce just so you can enjoy one eighth for free. Like it was ridiculous. And nowadays, an ounce goes for about 60 to 100 bucks, a fraction of what it used to cost. And it's safe, and you get to pick it out, and you get to like talk to somebody about it, be like, "Oh, hey," and a lot of people tried to do that back in the day. They were weed snobs, and it was just like the people providing it were like, "Look, man, I just had to do some sketchy stuff just to get this here." Like, I mean, because people create like treated it like it was like nuclear materials or bomb stuff. Like, nah, you know, the way you had to transport it, and it was stinky, and it was big and fluffy, and like, you know, it just smelled so strong, and like you're worried about every time you get pulled over. And then the cops know too. They know the usual suspects, so they're like, "Yep, I'll bet you he's got something in his car." It's like, oh god, okay, so now we get to do this song and dance, and like, you know, all that for what we now use as like a grocery store. Like it is beautiful going into a dispensary and being like, oh, well, looky here. This is all fine and legal. Nice. And the reason I keep talking about that is because that is probably, in my opinion, the biggest issue that we needed to fix our country. Like the war on drugs, pitting cops against citizen, like and making life dangerous and unbearable for some cops. Like, you know, it's just like worried about them planting drugs on you just to get you because they know that you're doing it, but they couldn't prove it this time. And you know, and they're told like you gotta go get them, gotta stop these drug dealers and all this, and like, and just being on a wild goose chase, chasing these other people. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard a cop say, you know, whatever, this isn't, or just somehow rationalize and explain why they don't need to make that bust that night because it's just weed or whatever, you know, like, and it's respectable too. Like I'm glad a lot of people stood up and were like, "No, this is stupid." Like there are people out there like doing really sketchy things, and I want to protect good people from being victims of that stuff. And I'm out here talking to this, you know, this teenager trying pot and like, you know, about to ruin their life over nothing. When you know, yeah, it's just ridiculous. And Snoop Dogg has always been a big proponent, a big advocate for for cannabis, and he's making, and I don't want to say it a comeback because I remember how much Dre got mad about that. He's like, "Don't call it a comeback," or someone else like said that. I don't even know, but it's like taking offense to that. But like, he's making another big move. There we go. And I love the video. It was 12 minutes, voiced over by Method Man, which is one of my favorite people in the world. Method Man and Redman are like my two favorite hip hop artists, like hands down. Redman got a little hyphy, and I think he had a Dave Chappelle moment because like I got his Redman Gone Wild CD, and it was just N bomb after N bomb every other word, and he was like almost explicitly trying to make it to, like as uncomfortable as possible for white people to listen to his CD. I mean, I did because I didn't care. Like, I mean, I cared only to the point where I didn't want to disrespect anyone that might hear it. They're like N bomb, N bomb, N bomb. Like, ah, jeez. But like, there's still some really good tracks on there. But it was just like you can't play this around white people. Like, it's just you're not supposed to. So, anyways, and so then I commented my own personal experience of standing up to somebody who was drugging and raping women in college, and that was the beginning of the end for me as a dealer. I stopped. Like, of course, I didn't have to. Once weed was legalized, I didn't. That was the main thing I sold was like weed and shrooms. Like that was it. I mean, I didn't like any of the other stuff. I thought it was dangerous. Like, I understood why that stuff was illegal, but like for bud and boomers, like, nah. As long as you do it safely and in a controlled way, like, you know, if you're being an idiot about anything, you could have too much coffee. And I've done that. There used to be these little creamer cups called Stoke, STOK, and the O was long or something. Or maybe stock, whatever. It had two dots over it, but we called it Stoke. Like, I'm stoked for this. And it was back when my friends and I were on super probation, so like we couldn't do anything fun, quote unquote. So we just got jacked up on coffee, and there was a few times where my heart just felt like it was gonna stop or explode, and it was not fun. I was all sweaty and like it was like a caffeine overdose. And for what? We thought we were like, okay, we can at least do this, but there was no real point to do this. So, anyways, and that's why I advocate for all that stuff. It's just it's silly. And so I posted on a DEA post, which was they were posting about the dangers of spice and K2 and the synthetic weed, which a lot of people end up using when they're on probation because they can't smoke real weed, and that's changing too. I have heard that if you have a medical marijuana card, you can use it in some situations on probation. So if you were able to smoke bud and you're on probation, I think everybody would do a lot better on that. Be like, okay, I can't drink alcohol, but I can at least use this plant that makes me happy and giggly and doesn't really hurt anybody. Whereas alcohol, being the real gateway drug and the real dangerous substance, is then able to be like, oh, you know what? It was the drinking this whole time. If I don't drink, then I don't become a monster and I don't hurt people and I don't, this and that. And it is really the truth. And everybody, I've met a lot of people in all stages of recovery, like from real drugs like meth, crack, heroin, all this stuff. They were like actually struggling with like scratching themselves and being like, I just need to feel that a little more. And their body is so wired for that, yeah. And anyways, my point with that is almost every last single person said that their night of hard drug use started with a drink or two, alcohol. Always alcohol, because then you start losing your decision maker. You're like, oh, this isn't that bad. I deserve this. I get to celebrate a little bit, like justifying having just a little bit of drinky poo, when in reality, and then it runs away from you or what have you, because then everything is exposed. Like if you're feeling cruddy underneath it all, it becomes amplified and magnified by the alcohol or whatever, and then it causes all sorts of bad stuff. And you got to make so many excuses for your poor behavior during it. Whereas there's weed on the other side of the fence. There's people just chilling, smoking. Maybe they take a nap or go eat some food or go call up somebody that they haven't talked to in a long time. They start thinking about the important people in their lives, like bringing families back together and all that. And it's like, or you can go get drunk and go behind a dumpster and rape some pass out drunk chick. Oh, sorry, I think I accidentally swore, but YouTube will get it. Brock Turner, that's who I'm talking about right there. He was drunk. His victim was drunk. She was trying to find a safe place to sleep. She decided behind a dumpster was okay. And then he came by and he took advantage of her. That's what you get when you drink too much. When you smoke too much, you maybe get a headache, maybe go take a nap and wake up and then you're fine. Like, you're not hungover the rest of the next day. So, anyways, it just does my heart good to see Snoop Dogg out there, making moves and doing all that. And Dre, I've been a big fan of his for a long time. And it's just, they've always known and understood that weed isn't dangerous. The real dangerous people are people fueled by alcohol and pride and that are unchecked and able to run rampant and hurt people. That's the real evil in the world. And just like the guy that, and I made this big long comment on one of Snoop Dogg's posts with the movie. I said, an arrow and poison is nice, but mine was like a butterfly knife, baseball bat, two broken 40s, and like, I didn't actually hurt anybody, but I scared the bejesus out of him. And it was enough. He moved, he left town. And like, he got 5 years probation for admitting that he raped two women. Whew. Yeah. So we're working on it. We will continue to fix this thing. And I'm not even still mad at him. Like, I've been waiting for him to apologize or to make amends, but the coward that he is, he has not reached out once. I think he's afraid, but and he also knows that everybody around here knows what he did. So, like, yeah, I'm sure a few people approached him because he assaulted several people, several women. But anyways, I got to get going. I got a meeting. Let's finish up this run. And then, yeah, and I'm exploring. So a little context of what I'm doing out here. I'm exploring the map section south of my main map section. I'm trying to find one of those new pale forests, like, because supposedly they have some pretty spooky mobs, and I'll turn this back out of peaceful and go encounter and experience the new mobs. So, anyways, ta-ta for now. I'll see you in the next one, and we'll do some more Joker Tower. I'll probably kick this back to the normal texture pack just so the Joker Tower can be enjoyed in its entirety. So, oh, there's my alarm. So, ta-ta for now. I will see you in the next one. Have a great Monday, everybody.